All right, what's going on, everybody? We've got a fun bracket challenge. We are back with another video. We've got the NFL playoff bracket challenge. So invite your fantasy friends in your football leagues um, and win up to 70K in prizes. We're going to try to do that today. So looking at the bracket, we've got the Chiefs on one side, we've got the Lions on the other side. Both number one seeds, both with a good shot at ending up in New Orleans. So let's get right into it with the Texans and the Chargers. Um, the thing about the Texans is they are not the Texans we saw last year. That was capable of winning that first playoff game. Ever since the game against the Ravens, it looked like a defeated football team. They lost Tank Dell. Um, they've lost some games at home this year that you just were shaking your head at. And if you look at the Chargers, it's kind of the opposite. They're just playing really good football. They destroyed the Patriots, so the Patriots aren't the best team. They're winning, and they're winning by big margins. They're playing their best football, and I'm going to take the Chargers to play the Chiefs. I like this matchup. I think this is going to be a good rivalry game. And then coming down to the Ravens and the Steelers, the Ravens have been blowing teams out by big margins. The Steelers have been a really good team this year as well. It's pretty remarkable how they're taking these rosters and building winning teams and getting into the playoffs. Um, but it's hard to go against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, especially at home in Baltimore. I like the Ravens. And then the Broncos and the Bills. The Chiefs gifted the Broncos to be in the playoffs, and Bo Nix is a great player, and the Broncos are pretty well coached. But this was a free ticket in, and if I was the Chiefs, I would have played a little bit harder that way. The Bills would have had to play the Bengals, but it is what it is, and I'll take the Bills to win. MVP Josh Allen. This is going to be a great game. All right, going on the other side, Lions with the bye, the Rams and the Vikings. So if you watched the Vikings and Lions game, you might have been like, Vikings are done. They played terrible for that number one seed, and a lot of people are counting them out. But they have to go and play the Rams, and the Rams are a good team. They've got really good weapons, but SoFi is really not a tough place to play. And yes, the Rams have had some big wins. They beat the Lions this year, but look at the Vikings. They could have been the number one seed in the NFC, and they had to go to Detroit to get it. So obviously, it's a tough game. I don't think we really thought they would have the number one seed given the circumstances, but I think the Vikings are the better team, and I like them to uh, play the Lions. Or we'll get to that a little bit later, but it's interesting how the Dan Campbell, the coach of the Lions, says, "See you in 2 weeks." I beg to differ. Going to my next pick down here, I'm going to take the Commanders over the Buccaneers, and a lot of people would say, "Hey, don't pick a rookie quarterback to win a playoff game." We saw CJ Stroud do it last year. I think the Commanders are in better shape. The Bucks lost Chris Godwin. They've got some injuries. Jalen Daniels is fighting an injury right now, but I think he'll be good to go for the game. The Commanders are won 5 straight. They just beat the Eagles in Week 16, huge win. And then if you look at the Buccaneers, look at my notes here. Week 10, they lost to the 49ers. Week 12, they lost to the Panthers in OT. And then week 18, they barely beat the Saints. It was like pretty crazy to think because they were a 14-point favorite that the Saints might have won that game. So the Buccaneers started off the season great, but I just don't think that they can beat the Commanders. So it's interesting how that spins things. It makes it really interesting in the NFC. If the Commanders do get it done, the Lions would be facing the Commanders. So that's my upset for the first round, because in the wild card game, I think the Eagles will beat the Packers. And I think obviously you saw the last game where the Packers lost in a game-winning field goal to the Bears, the rivals, and it's like Obviously Jordan Love wasn't really playing. They're resting a lot of people in anticipation for this game. Eagles were doing the same thing. I think the Eagles have some of the best weapons in the league. I think they're um, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts. If those guys are healthy, if those guys are playing well, it's going to be over for the Packers. But this game really can go either way. So I'm really not confident in the Eagles to get it done, but that's where I'm going. I think you could easily see the Packers win this game, but I think the Eagles have been strong because um, the season they've had, it's been really, really fun to watch. MVP Saquon Barkley should have been. So, all right, let's get into the second round here. Let's go to the Chiefs and the Chargers. A lot of people have saying the Chiefs have been getting lucky. I don't really agree with that, but the Chargers, they're kind of due for a win in Arrowhead, um, and they're playing really good. But I just can't go against Patrick Mahomes in his first game at Arrowhead this year in the playoffs on his way to a three-peat. So I will take the Chiefs to win that game. And then the Bills and the Ravens. So in week one, the Chiefs played the Ravens and lost by a toe. But the Bills are going to stop the Ravens from rematch against the Chiefs. The Bills have beat the Lions. They beat the Chiefs. All year long, this team has been beating quality teams. And so I like them to beat the Ravens here. So we got the one seed Chiefs facing the Bills in the AFC Championship. On the other side, we've got the Commanders and Lions. I think the Lions got a gift with the bye, and now playing the Commanders, a rookie QB. I like the Lions to win their first game at home against the Commanders and to advance to the NFC Championship. And this is one of my favorite picks right here. So he says, I'll see you in 2 weeks. I say, I see you in 3 weeks. And Eagles have everything going for them right now. They're playing their best football, but man, the reason I don't pick them to advance is I've seen them just make errors um, on coaching throughout the year. I see them making just mistakes they shouldn't be making. Um, and I think the Vikings are more disciplined. I think the Vikings have a chance to beat the Eagles. So I like the see you in 2 weeks to see you in 3 weeks. Okay, so going into the final matchups before the Super Bowl here, the Chiefs and the Bills. The Bills beat the Chiefs earlier this year, but it was in Buffalo. And if you're the Bills, you don't want to play the Chiefs in the playoffs. And here's why I think the Chiefs are going to win. I don't think it's because they're lucky. I think it's because they're a good team. But I think home field advantage takes over. And if you're the Bills and you're wondering why you didn't get back to the Super Bowl, it's because you didn't get that number one seed. You didn't get that home field advantage. And if you want to get to the Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes on the same side as you got to get home field advantage. So I'm going to take the Chiefs to come back to the Super Bowl. And then on the other side here, we've got the Lions and the Vikings. The see you in 2 weeks turned to see you in 3 weeks. The Vikings with a lot of momentum, beating two good teams. The Lions only having to win one game. They've seen this Vikings team. They know what to expect. They know how to shut them down. And I like the Lions to win and go to the Super Bowl. And then to win the Super Bowl, this is going to be a tough one. So the Lions, they've got Maron St. Brown. They've got Dan Campbell as the coach, leading this team. Everything he says is happening. Everything he's, tried to instill these players is finally coming to fruition. They've got Sonic and Tails at running back. This team has just all the weapons it could win. But I think why they don't win this game is the defense. I think the Chiefs defense comes out and really, really gives the Lions a tough time. And I think there's no stopping the Chiefs for a three-peat. And That is a pick. That is a wrap. So the Chiefs to beat the Lions in New Orleans in the Super Bowl. All right. Thanks for watching.